My name is Arthur. I'm 65 years old and live in a small, rented apartment on the far side of downtown Los Angeles. I work as a janitor for a massive investment firm, the kind of place with towering glass walls and a lobby that gleams brighter than a new coin. No family to speak of, no one to come home to. Just me and the quiet hum of my old refrigerator. My son, Leo, used to live with me. He was a bright kid, smarter than I ever was, with a fire in his eyes that could light up the darkest room. He had dreams of building this company, of changing the world from the inside out. To the people who see me now, I'm just part of the background, an old man who mops up their messes, but they have no idea what it feels like to walk these halls in my shoes. Today was supposed to be a big day, May 28th, the annual shareholders meeting, and the day my son would have turned 30. I was pushing my cart across the main lobby, the smell of lemon-scented cleaner hanging in the air. The marble floor was a mirror, reflecting the hurried footsteps of men and women in expensive suits. That's when it happened. A young executive, phone pressed to his ear, pivoted without looking and walked directly into my path. His hand jerked, and a stream of dark, hot coffee cascaded down, splashing across his pristine $1,000 leather shoes. The liquid pooled on the shiny floor, a dark stain on a perfect surface. For a moment, the entire lobby seemed to hold its breath. The quiet hum of commerce was replaced by a sudden, sharp silence, broken only by the drip, drip, drip of coffee from the edge of his trousers. He ripped the phone away from his ear, his face contorting into a mask of pure rage. "You clumsy old fool," he screamed, his voice echoing in the cavernous space. He was young, maybe in his late 20s, with slick-back hair and a tailored blue suit that probably cost more than my entire year's rent. His finger, sharp and accusatory, jabbed at the air, just inches from my face. "Look what you've done. These are Italian leather. Do you have any idea how much these cost? Do we?" His words were like stones, each one a sharp, painful blow. I could feel the eyes of everyone in the lobby on me, a mixture of pity and morbid curiosity. I looked down at my own worn hands, then back up at his furious expression. My uniform, a simple blue jumpsuit with the company logo stitched over the pocket, suddenly felt coarse and heavy. "I'm so sorry, sir," I stammered, my voice barely a whisper. I reached for the mop, my movements slow and unsteady, my heart pounding against my ribs. Like a trapped bird, "It was an accident. I can try to clean them for you. Please." I was begging, my shoulders slumped in defeat. The humiliation was a physical weight, pressing down on me, making it hard to breathe. The young man just scoffed, a cruel, dismissive sound that cut deeper than his shouting. The air in the lobby was thick with tension. A pair of security guards, their faces impassive, shifted their weight near the main entrance, watching the scene unfold, but making no move to intervene. This was my world now, a place of silent service and public shame, a modern cathedral of wealth, where I was nothing more than an invisible ghost, only noticed when I made a mistake. The young man continued his tirade, his voice dripping with arrogance as he lectured me on competence and respect, words that sounded hollow and perverse coming from his lips. He was enjoying this, the power he held over me, the public spectacle of my debasement. He wanted everyone to see him put the lowly janitor in his place. Upstairs, on the 40th floor, the board meeting was about to begin. The room was a testament to power, dominated by a long, polished glass table that reflected the nervous faces of the executives seated around it. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city of Los Angeles sprawled out below, a kingdom of concrete and light. The men and women in the room adjusted their ties and smoothed their skirts, their hushed conversations filled with anxiety. The company's founder, a notoriously reclusive and eccentric billionaire, was rumored to be making his first public appearance in over a decade. No one knew what he looked like, only that he held the fate of the entire company and their careers in his hands. A few minutes later, the double doors to the boardroom swung open. A man walked in, his footsteps silent on the plush carpet. He wore an impeccably tailored, dark gray suit, the kind of bespoke creation that whispers of old money and undeniable authority. But as he walked toward the head of the table, a collective gasp rippled through the room. Paired with the expensive suit were a pair of old, scuffed, and dirt-stained sneakers. They were the shoes of a man who had walked 1,000 hard miles, a stark and shocking contrast to the pristine environment of the boardroom. The executives exchanged confused and alarmed glances. Who was this man? I took my place at the head of the long glass table, my hands resting flat on its cool surface. The cheap blue jumpsuit was gone, replaced by the armor of a suit my son would have been proud of. I stood tall, the weight of grief and years of silent observation settling into a confident, unshakable resolve. I looked at the faces around the table, a sea of ambition, greed, and fear. My gaze scanned each one, pausing for a moment, letting the silence stretch until it was almost unbearable. The power in the room had shifted, flowing not from their expensive watches or their Ivy League degrees, but from the man in the dirty shoes. Then my eyes found him. The young executive in the blue suit, the one from the lobby. He had been preening, boasting to the man next to him, but now his face was a portrait of pure, unadulterated shock. His jaw hung open, his skin had turned a pasty white, and his eyes were wide with a terror that was deeply satisfying to behold. Recognition dawned, followed by a wave of sickening understanding. He wasn't just looking at a board member, he was looking at the ghost he had tried to humiliate just moments before. He was looking at the founder and majority shareholder of the very company he worked for. He was looking at me, Arthur Vance. A small, knowing smile touched my lips. I didn't need to raise my voice. I didn't need to yell or point my finger. I simply looked toward the security guard standing at the door and gave a slight, almost imperceptible nod in the young man's direction. "The first order of business," I said, my voice calm but carrying the weight of absolute authority, "is to take out the trash." The guards moved swiftly, escorting the terrified, sputtering executive out of the boardroom and toward the elevators. As the doors closed on his career, I looked out at the city my son had loved, the city he had wanted to conquer with ideas and integrity, not arrogance and cruelty. I was just an old man in dirty shoes. But today, I had taken the first step in making this a company he would have been proud of,